Well, I blinked and summer was over here in Canada. As you guys know, I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada. Our summers are categorized the same as yours, but in terms of outdoor swimming type of weather or actually enjoying it, we get like a month to 45 days before it gets a little too chilly, and we've gotten to the point where it's gotten a little too chilly to even swim in this. Even though it's heated and it's essentially completed for now, in today's video, I want to show you how we got to this. But first, I want to talk about all the cool things that I like about it and why it's probably not going to look like this next year. So first things first is obviously the waterfall. I never completed all the plants around it or anything like that. I even need to mow my lawn, and you might notice like not all of the grass has grown back because we had this horrible drought. We weren't allowed in the woods here in Canada. We weren't allowed to kind of go outside or do anything. And obviously the grass would have came back a lot thicker. A lot of you said, oh, that grass is never coming back. You seeded it wrong, etc. But it did grow back, and it grew back quite lush. I just need to trim it. The biggest thing I like about this is the waterfall. It's fed in two ways. The main portion down here is fed by the filter, which we'll cover in a moment. The upper portion is fed by the do-it-yourself heater, which only runs on a timer when the sun's out. The waterfall, if you remember, used to be a part of the 2,000 gallon system, but having that much open water in 550 square feet just leads to a tremendous amount of humidity, so we've repurposed it out here year after year after year. The next thing that I really like about it is the filtration system. It's incredibly simple and straightforward. It's fed by a pump at the bottom here. It's right under there, we'd never be able to see it, besides it's like little hose. It's coming up and going up under the waterfall. Now the waterfall is sitting on some pond liner before I even placed it there, just to ensure if any water drips, or I don't want that to flood behind the liner and kind of push the liner in or anything like that. We've seen what happens when that too much water gets behind one. However, with that liner there, we put the hollow waterfall on top. The pump is feeding into the bottom of a 55-gallon barrel. Once it gets into that barrel, there's a 2-inch pipe with holes drilled into it, and all that water coming in sprays down relatively hard. On top of that is a large layer of, ignore the flamingo, is a large layer of rocks. These are more like gravel or stones, typically used for decorative purposes. This is just to serve as its first barrier. When the water comes running in, this is going to remove most of the larger particulate. It's also going to serve as a surface area for beneficial bacteria, but most importantly, it stops the sand from back siphoning into the filter. Now, if we look in here, we can see that this is a true fluidized sand filter. It's not fluidizing everywhere, but that is the nature of a fluidized sand filter. Sometimes it will become a little bit more compact. We get the dramatic look of it here fluidizing, and it's not so much fluidizing over there. But if I tell you how it feels, it's just completely and totally fluidized. You'll notice that some of the debris is sitting on top, and when it's running, we're not really getting a lot of dirt or muck coming out. That's because I haven't really actually backwashed it, because the filter isn't complete yet. In order for me to clean this, all I have to do is, and it's still not done building this, is shut off the output, which is essentially just by capping it off. And I'm going to put another bulkhead in the side, which I haven't yet, for water to exit. As this fills up, all I have to do is come on in here and stir my hands around, and look what happens. Now, as the water rises, all that dirty water is going to come out the side. But since I don't have it, we're going to have to put it back in the pond for now, which is fine. There's no fish in it. We've only been using it to swim in because there wasn't enough time this year to kind of transition it completely over. And the bigger thing is obviously that I want to make some more changes to it. Now, the benefits to a fluidized sand filter is the obvious. There's nothing with that much surface area known to man besides sand. It's one of the smallest particulates, and has a unmeasurable amount of surface area to it, giving even this amount in my hand, just a handful, would have more surface area in it than, let's say, the entire contaminants of an FX6. The downside to fluidized filters is they're tough to run. They're hard to make sure that the water doesn't, or the sand doesn't get in, and keep them fluidized and not become too compact. Luckily, we lucked out here with the right amount of flow, pushing around like between 3,000 and 5,000 gallons per hour through this. Incredibly easy to maintain if I finish building it. However, I haven't touched it because it's doing such a good job at polishing the water that I haven't noticed it slowing down or anything like that, so I haven't really gotten a chance to clean it. It's also incredibly cheap. To build this only cost around $150. I already had the barrel to get all that sand and all that rock. I already had the plumbing. So about 150 bucks Canadian to build this entire thing. Will work perfectly on a pond and or a swimming pool if you need to do a do-it-yourself swimming pool filter. Have your pump into the bottom of it, up through it, polishes your water. If you want it to be for a pool, drop in some pucks, some chlorine pucks, and you're good to go. They'll just float right on the top. They don't technically sink. They'll just sit there and dissolve and chlorinate the water. It's a beautiful system. Now, as for the heater that's feeding up through the top, I got to make some adjustments here and make things prettier, but there's a small pump here pumping up through 400 feet of irrigation, black irrigation hose, and then back and into waterfall. This runs on a timer. It comes on at around 11 a.m. and shuts off at around 7 p.m. Those tend to be the peak times where the sun's actually going to hit that side of the house. And the difference is the way it works is for every 100 feet of that hosing that I have, I raise the degree of temperature in the pond by 1. So if it's 26 degrees, this, on a good day, will raise it to around 30 degrees Celsius. One of the other things that I do like about it was the cost and the ease of building this. Essentially, if you guys remember, this used to be a lot smaller and a lot taller. It used to come out of the ground by like around this high. If I were to build this again, start from scratch, I would have just had to dig a square hole, drop the liner in it, and put these pavers on the sides. Now, I haven't completed the final look of it because, again, we're gonna have to get that into a minute, but the ease and the cost of this was cheap. I just bought the pavers and that was it. They're like $8 a piece or $4 a piece, something like that. So maybe $100 or so of pavers for this rendition and saving of it. And it's my absolute favorite version so far. The other thing I really like about it is that it's flat with the ground. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't have it flat with the ground. I read comments. Grass will get in it, this will get in it. Well, first and foremost, I got to mow the grass for that to happen. But this isn't the first time something has been built in ground. There's tons and tons of in-ground pools all over the world. I think people just leave silly comments just to leave them, but I love that it's flat with the ground. It's so easy to get in and get out, especially since I built a step now. Originally, I wanted to make it a little shallower and even bigger, so Luke will get in it. I'm happy to report that he still won't get in it. Last, the biggest thing that I enjoy about this is how easy it was to make this bigger and how to scale it to go even bigger, because I do want to make it bigger next year, and that's probably a conversation for later. But one of the things I want to do is make it at least 4 feet wider, because right now it's 16 feet by 12 feet, and I want it to be 16 by 16, and I want a centralized drain, and I want returns on all sides, but that's going to mean ripping this all out, draining it, and getting a new liner, because this liner is not going to be big enough. But essentially, I will make it similar to this with more pavers. I'll probably, instead of just having 1 row, I'd like to have 2 rows. And by that point, if you even come over here and take a look, I haven't even finished trimming the liner. This is literally just sitting on it with some gravel under it to kind of level it out. But I still didn't finish leveling it, and I still didn't trim it because I thought summer's over, we're not really going to be swimming in it anymore, and I want to make it bigger, so what's the point of making it prettier when I'm just going to rip it apart next year? And not necessarily rip it apart, I'm just going to make it bigger. Now, how did we get to all this? You guys will remember that I had built almost like a plywood insides to it. We ran through 2 hurricanes, demolishing the beauty of it at one point. And then I decided it's got to be cut down lower. I was cutting it down lower, everything was working out beautifully, and that's when I was filling it up, the hose popped out of it, got behind it, and flooded out behind it. But all I did was rip out all the wood, increase the width of the walls just with a shovel, flattened it all out, built a little platform on the sides all the way around, and put a little dirt pile over in the corner for like steps. Then we put in the liner, filled it up, tossed these bricks on it, and that was essentially it. Now, because it's not finished, and I got to mow the lawn, and I've got to trim things, and I got to make things look prettier, add in more circulation, that sort of thing. Obviously, a lot of people won't like it, but this is my favorite rendition of this pond. But you'll also remember all that wood. Well, some of it had to go back here. I save it to build other things with, but also if it's unusable, we burn things, or we burn it for firewood. But I also built Mariah and Perseus a catio. Perseus, Mariah, say hi to everybody. This is just right outside the fence. It looks like I wouldn't be able to open the fence, but it swings right under it, so no problem there. You can see the old pine boards that used to be. I just built basically a little box, a little step for them, and it attaches to my kitchen window. They spend every day, all day out here. They love it. But I guess the number one thing that I do like about this, and I think a lot of you might not have been so inclined to enjoy something like this at first. It's going to be cold, but I'm going to get in. I want to show you how deep it is. It runs at the deepest point, which is right around here at around 42 inches, but the rest is anywhere from 42 upwards of like 30 inches deep. And it needs a drain because we still get a little bit of dust settling in it. But when I get in like this, actually it's way too cold, I'm not getting in. But you can see my step here. But me and Tamara enjoy simply sitting here. I love it. For something so easy and effective, and something I built 5 years ago when all the big expenses are over, I think there's nothing wrong. But let me know what you think. Should I make it bigger or should I just make it prettier? And by making it prettier, I got to level these blocks out, trim all of the excess, and obviously cut the grass and plant some plants around it. Should I just keep going with this? Unfortunately, I ran out of time this year to do much more. I guess I still could make it pretty, but one of the things was I was like, if I was going to put fish in there, I'm not doing koi because the frost line in Nova Scotia is at around 4 feet, meaning that water will freeze all the way down to 4 feet, and this isn't 4 feet. I prefer this depth. This is exactly what I wanted. Some people say, oh, you should have made it 6 feet, 8 feet, all these feet deep. Meanwhile, most people have a pond this deep in the back of their house. This is perfect for us. I like it, Tamara likes it. We like floating around it, but I did have serious thoughts of wanting to make it bigger. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I think this is the best version of it this far. It's exactly kind of what I like, and especially when I get it all pretty, level out the blocks, trim up the pond liner, mow the lawn, put in some plants, make it more visually appealing, like it's blended more in, and it would look absolutely fantastic. But at the end of the day, I still need a bottom drain, so I could potentially add that or simply more circulation within it. But I do want to know what you guys think. If you do enjoy it, let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do, because I've got some really big projects that I've been working on. In fact, I brought the saw out because I got to start working on that as soon as I upload this video for you guys. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.